So, we're going to come up with a topic. It's going to be good. I like to think sometimes people have it out for me. Or you ever get that feeling that that the thing that it's saying is trying to say something about you? Like if you look at like an ad or like something like that, it's trying to say something about you, I guess. It's really loud. I'm going to turn it down. That is actually a marketing technique added by companies. Back in the day, they used to do this sometimes. They would they'd have like traveling subsets of it's in the Game of Thrones basically too. So if you don't know exactly what it is, basically the actors back in the day were spies. They weren't spies in the sense of they were trying to kill someone or something like that. I mean, some of them were, but not all of them. So we're not gonna put them all in the same group because that would be stupid. A lot of times when let's see here. Actually, I need to do over there. God damn it! That's why. Son of a bitch. That's what I have to do. I have to man that gap to be able to get inside that door. Alright, cool. I'm gonna respawn. There we go. Alright. I'm gonna go to F19 of this. Alright, how's it going, Brendan Bella? You having a good day, dude? But yeah, a lot of times people think that that something is talking about them, and that's like back in old England and like they like perfected this technique kind of to be able to make it look or make it seem like people are all getting the same products or make it seem like their society is uniform through marketing. They'd make it seem like a lot of stuff, I guess, but let's see. Wait. Kill those wizards first. Alright, we're gonna drop down. That's cool. I mean, I'm not looking for sex. Looking for a conversation. What do you think about what I'm talking about right now? Sure. That's cool. I'm playing Dark Souls 2. I'm trying to jump. It's hard to do this. I'm gonna have to respawn again at the same point. Alright. This is really, really difficult. Because I have to land. That's good. There's so many places to go here and like so many not places to go. But yeah, I'm talking about ways they used to perfect getting through to the human psyche. And they used to do it sometimes by, like say for instance, like Sigmund Freud. A lot of his psychiatric evaluations have been proven wrong in some cases. Like only because I think science is a measurement, so it's like it's hard to. Wait, I'm gonna go to inventory. So. I think what happens when people think that that everyone goes into the same category is they bet not bet I guess their money or anything like that. I mean I'm sure they have money. Like what is it? uh, put away for it, like basically to invest after someone meets their untimely demise. Um, but um, but a lot of times I think that people didn't understand. There it is, right there. I'm gonna roll down. Like this. There we go. Yes. Awesome. Here we go. Son of a bitch. There's the freaking thing I had to go down to. Alright, Brandon Villa, it was nice talking to you, dude. But, a lot of times what they would do is, people who kind of, a lot of people didn't trust each other back in the day. And, I mean, not like they still don't, but, because they still don't. But they like to keep, like, tabs on people a lot and stuff like that. I mean, and that's what I kind of studied back in the day, I guess. They would kind of, and this was like MI6, MI5 practices, Old English practices too. A lot of times where people would leave off on certain areas of the psyche, they basically try to predict unpredictable behavior in the hopes of not following a pattern, but making a pattern. Like making, like say for instance, someone is wreaking havoc on an economy or something like that. Like maybe there's some sort of economy that is basically the best economy that has been in this thing so far. Granted, it's still not a great economy, but in order to make sure that people wouldn't talk about something, a certain detail that they would leave out, and something like that. Like, say for instance, this is real, mind you, too. This is the Taylor Wars, basically. Like, they try to tell you that it's like, whatchamacallit, there we go. I'm amazing. And now I'm gonna sit. Alright, a lot of times people would think that, that the government was corrupt no matter who it was, or how it was, no matter which way it was doing something. And in many cases, there were a lot of times where people who did bad things or something like that would get on parole or some sort of way because they would use let's see, wait, what is this? I know this is like, this has got to be something. All right. Okay, what I'm trying to say is there were a lot of different factors in Old England and a lot of different places that that made life hard, I guess. Not really exactly hard, but hard to deal with. Hard to get past stuff, like the amount of people there were that did crimes, that were on the streets and doing different things, and not a lot of people don't know this, but I mean, they did. I think it was the people who. It's like, okay, Australia didn't have a bunch of people who did crimes and send them. They didn't send people who all did crimes. they sent people who in some cases, god damn it, that's my alarm. They sent people in some cases who were poor to different areas, they had families that like they did crimes or something like that. They did crimes merely to feed their family. Their economy couldn't hold that many people. Basically, everything was so crowded, and their inflation was getting ready to go up, and I think that's basically the reason why they did that. So I mean, they were thinking conservatively, but only because they're not the gods. Everything is infinite, you know, for them, you know. It's like there's so many different things that have actually played a part in Old England and a lot of different things like that. I studied history a lot when I was in high school, and I cracked open every book I could to be able to see what was the actual thing, you know, that people were actually like getting to. A lot of times, whenever I would I'm trying to see if this is an area I can get to. Okay, so I'm going down this way and I'm going down. But there's gotta be something. Oh shit. God damn it. That's awesome. Got me. Anyways, glad I got you that thing. Alright, so there are a lot of things and a lot of factors that caused Old England to crumble. I guess not really crumble, but I mean, it set on fire, so there are a lot of factors that caused Old England to do the things that it did back in the day, and send off poorer people who an economy that couldn't suit, that in some cases would do less than honorable things to get by. Not kill people or hurt people, but I mean pickpocketing, a lot of different things like that. So I mean the economy sucked, so it wasn't like something they could do. So I mean they did the honorable thing and just told them there was new land, and sometimes people didn't make it though because they didn't have fruit, or they didn't send them along with the correct supplies. Not exactly the correct supplies, but I think that was more of a miscommunication more than anything like that, because a lot of times people say send them with everything they need, and in order to cut costs, some people would be like, alright, this is all they need, and then like I guess that's like, it's like a dude who does a freaking job for sheetrock. He doesn't do the entire panel, okay, just save money. Even though he bought the entire panel, he doesn't want to use the entire panel. He doesn't want to rip up whatever else is up there. So he just does one section. And that's the point, is they gave him a section of what they actually needed in order to be able to survive. And that's the reason why sometimes people didn't survive on the trip to Australia, or didn't even make it to Australia. And there were people of color and a whole bunch of different other people like that. I think a lot of times people in America get that they're taken, it's like they were the young bucks of the world sometimes. But in actuality, sometimes our lineage goes back to almost ancient sometimes. Or I mean, not a lot of people, but some people can trace their lineage back to literally the pyramids. And what I think is wrong, I guess, with sometimes people who think that and like pyramids of Giza, the freaking Jordan and Jordanian and a whole bunch of different kinds of stuff. So it's like Cuban is half what is it called? It's not half. It's more like 1/8, I guess. It's 1/8. What's the divide? I think it's up to. It's mostly like Egyptian or Israeli. I think. I'm not sure. Israel was a huge, or Persian. actually, somewhat, because of the same kind of beard structure and stuff like that. And also, too, you have to think about environmental things as well. But like Fidel Castro was not all the way Cuban, so I mean, obviously, no one's actually all the way anything. I mean, it's like it's obvious. So, um, so a lot of times, what people would do is, in England, to be able to make a subset, or not a class system or a caste system, but to entice people, basically, they would tell them a lot of opportunities were available for them, and if only they were to give them their name, their number, or not their number, not all England, uh, their name, their information, or where they worked, or something like that. And that was very important information back then. Like, people like to keep where they worked a complete and utter secret sometimes. And not even if you're just working at a restaurant sometimes, because obviously that stuff is very, like, it was pertinent information, basically. And there were a lot more terrorist attacks back then than there are now. So, not only but what would happen sometimes is, like, they would basically do, what's the word? Because we did different kind of stuff back in the day. You know, it was like there were different ways of going about doing things back in the day. Your name was already in a pot, basically, if you were a part of a country. Human trafficking was everywhere, and slavery was, even before slavery, human trafficking was everywhere. Like, all the time. Like, people would be like, okay, I'll give you this person for this person and this person for that person. And if they make a family and we get to get the stuff, basically, people were, that's basically what the mob is, kind of. A lot of people, that's the reason why they call the like, one of the last pope, but the pope, and one of the, like, it was like the 5th or the 6th pope or something like that. I don't know what it was, but I'm not sure on my names, but it was one of the popes that actually used and there's a reason why they categorize all these creatures and stuff like that. I want to be able to live, so I'm gonna go to my equipment, inventory, and I'm gonna see if I have that stupid ring. Where's the cat at? There it is. Okay. Reduces damage from falling. There we go. I'm gonna add it. I'm gonna go to inventory. I'm gonna add it for equipment, and we are going to get it. Ring of steel protection, life ring. Alright, I'm gonna switch this out for the cat ring for right now. And we are going to see how much we take by, I'm going to do this. But a lot of times, in old countries and stuff like that, your name was already in use, basically, in a number pool, basically. They don't do it like they do now, because, I mean, obviously people have rights and things like that, but if you were a part of a country or a part of a certain teamster or a certain thing or a certain union, your name was already in the pot to be able to do something, or to be able to make yourself plentiful and teach your children your trade. That's basically the reason why sometimes people wouldn't go to school, is because they would learn trades, basically. And it's not like we're less or more stupid than we were back then, but I think we have a really rare opportunity right now, and that's probably because I'm a millennial and all that other different stuff or whatever. But millennials, I think also too, what people try to do is they never really understand a generation until they've pegged them all, I guess. And I think a lot of times they don't know that all this stuff that is happening now was rampant back in the day. People would get their money, their lives ruined, their money stolen, their kingdoms completely, their assets completely frozen, and yes, awesome. Oh wait, yeah. Oh, okay. That's why. Alright, cool. I did not know. Alright. Alright, now I don't care about falling. So I'm gonna go over here and see if I can go to... I should have understood that, but it's okay. So a lot of times people would lose their livelihood in a much quicker fashion when people would play them or anything like that. And as like I think millennials, we have they have people who kind of work towards that. Like, I mean, not only my generation, but a lot of different people who are in different parts of different groups that that really felt as though there were there were injustices there were injustices happening along the world, and people didn't understand that there was just not enough time in the day to be able to do all the things that people need to do sometimes. And it was my belief, it is still my belief that God damn it is still my belief that that in most cases, I think that people don't see they don't see what they have until something in the day comes along and takes it. It's like you never take enough time in the day as an individual sometimes to be able to allot yourself for. I don't do that. I guess I don't do that correctly or right. You know, a lot of times I understood that son of a bitch, should have found cover. Alright, a lot of times, people don't understand, not cultural divides, but, I guess the way people live sometimes is just, have extra saliva, if anyone wants any. People never, I guess, people never go into detail sometimes about the specifics of anything, because of, I guess, that whole trope of believing in something and understanding that that anything apart from an alien coming down and trying to ruin your life. And I think that's basically what kept the Nixon place united, I guess, which was really stupid, because I mean, when united by hate, the only bonds that are ever made are as a stalemate, I guess. You know, that's it. So right when I was about to jump. Alright. Just knocked my microphone off my head. Let's do this differently. A lot of times people don't understand where they sit in a pool of something. Like when you're in a so when people, when people don't understand, when people don't understand where they sit in their world, I guess. There are a lot of people that say, "Oh, well, you need to protect yourself, or else you could suffer the consequences of identity theft and all the other different stuff." Or in the new world, basically, in the old world, people could do that exact same thing without any red tape, I guess. And a lot of times people were left by the wayside whenever new things would come along their way. And a lot of times I'd see what's that word? A personable refusal was more disparaging or disrespectful than an outright brawl. You know, it's like at least you're standing your ground, and that's respectable and stuff like that. But an outright refusal of interaction is what sometimes led to a brawl and murder in some cases. But yeah, that's what happens sometimes. Bloodlines would cease to be, which would really suck. And I think that's where the whole slavery thing, I guess, got started. Families would feud a lot in olden times, and they'd basically come up with basically reasons to hate each other. I don't know why. I think that people are stupid sometimes. They just get all wound up and shit, and no one can tell them what to do. I've had those moments before, but I've managed to just defend myself, so. A lot of times I've seen, what I've seen in history basically has taught me that you can never trust someone as far as you can throw them, because people are capable of a lot of different things, and not only are they capable of a lot of different things, but they're capable of a lot of different positive things too, and those things are probably best if shared, basically. A lot of times people don't get the point of I say believing in a character, I guess, or in what they think they know about, but it's like there are always exceptions to what people actually can do or can say they can do as well. I've reserved myself a lot of times in many cases, and a lot of times before I knew how to fight and before I knew how to do all that different stuff in martial arts and stuff like that, I would basically embarrass myself. Then I realized that I was embarrassing myself because I didn't want to fight. And that's what martial arts taught me that I didn't want to do. I think that it didn't teach me how to kick ass or how to take over stupid shit or do stupid stuff. But it taught me that to never really let my guard down, I guess. You know, it's like life is always coming at you, you know? It's like you're not supposed to find someone you can let your guard down with. You're supposed to find someone that can take your guard. Nah. Awesome. Extra saliva. If anybody needs it. But like, yeah, you're supposed to find someone that can take. What the fuck was that? You're supposed to find someone that can take your guard and understand that you have it, and actually live with your guard. It's like you're not supposed to get someone to train you like a dog, because the more they train you like a dog, the more they'll be watching your every move, you know. And the more they'll have to watch your every move, because technically they're kind of abusing you. If you're okay with abuse, I mean that's your thing. But don't force that on anyone else that doesn't want it. Like saying she asked for it, because she didn't. You know? She doesn't. Whoever she might be. She didn't ask for it. Even if she said yes, she can still say no. You know? That stuff. A lot of times people don't really get where I'm coming from, you know? They don't really get where I stand on certain issues. And, or maybe they do know, and they just stay away from me, you know? Because they think that somehow, I'm gonna change my mind, I guess. Or somehow they're gonna change their stupid, like, okay, like, this is funny, because it's funny to me when people do stupid things in front of me, to try to get a rise out of me. Like, it's funny to me because I could, but I don't. And I could, like, tell them to go fuck off, and then tell them that their music sucks, and but, I mean, obviously, there would be a 12-year-old involved, and, because that's the last time it happened, whenever, I was bringing my nieces to school, and they decided that, they wanted to, like, to hang out with me, and until the bus came, and then this kid decided to go walk over to me and just start playing a bunch of ass-shaking music, even though my nieces were the only ones who were girls clearly in that group that were talking to each other. And this kid just walked up and started playing some Bee Gee music and stuff like that. And not the Bee Gees. The Bee Gees are terrible, but at least they don't talk about chicks' asses and how she was a bitch and how he fucked her last night. And no matter how much he thinks he fucked her last night, but and I don't take nicely to like kids who just play that kind of music in front of women and stuff like that. I mean, granted, you can like hurt your own ears with that music, 'cause it's obvious. I mean, you can do what you want, but when it comes to someone else's ears and they don't want to hear that, or maybe it makes me feel uncomfortable. I mean, like, you know, just kind of think about other people's stuff, you know? Think about other people's, yeah, I'm out of stuff, so, here we go. And I'm gonna go to, there we go, Homeward Bone. You son of a bitch. Thought it was the animation going. Son of a bitch. But yeah, that's what happened to me, and my nieces' ears, as we, I mean, granted, I like BG. I do, I just don't play it in front of my, 10 and 12-year-old nieces, you know? And granted, if he wants to play it in front of my 10 and 12-year-old nieces, then he usually has to ask me first. Instead, he just decided to put the phone in front of my face and expected me to be okay with it. But, I mean, hey, you know, people who put their kids with cursing music all the time because they want to let them know that that America is terrible or something. I don't know. That there's some stuff that people can't stop. Understandably so, understandably so, I think, when it comes to that stuff, when it comes to that stuff, like, I think it's saying that and I'm gonna go back to my original point, but that kind of stuff used to happen all the time, except it would go even further, and then people would wind up murdered. So there are a lot of times where people would blame someone's family for their upbringing, and that's where I think a lot of times it comes in, like, people can't, like, say different stuff about people's families anymore. At least in America, you can't say that stuff in front of them. Or you can say that stuff in front of them, and then they punch you in the face, and then a fight breaks out between just you and that person. And granted, I think that's the part of our country that's dying, is the part where home is where the heart is, and family is where your family is, or whatever, or something like that. I think that's the part that's dying, and that's the part that needed to die. It just really, really needed to die. Like, just needed to. Because you cannot stop your friend, your colleague, your classmate, your own sibling from making a fool of themselves or embarrassing themselves. And if that person gets mad and they feel like fighting someone, you still can't stop them. I mean, you could grab them and say, no, don't do that thing, don't throw that dog container of water at my head, please. I mean, you could say that, but then people wouldn't listen to you because they're stupid, and they don't get whatever you're trying to say, however you're trying to say it. They'll never get it because they're stupid. And you want so badly for them to realize where they made mistakes, and you want so badly for them to realize their past, like what's it, like their past incoherent babbles, you know? You want them to realize that no, you can't go to someone's house and then expect everything from them, and then get nothing and give nothing in return, and then expect that to fly, I guess. But hey, you know what? It's cool. I still don't care, but I can't talk about it because I care that much. I mean, about my own safety. Alright, back to what I was saying. These are the ways that people within themselves and around other people would do stupid shit, basically. And then people who have been brought up to be safety and a whole bunch of different things, and everyone must be saved from their fate. I mean, and the reason why I think about it like that's probably is because my dad kind of used to rank on me for acting honorably sometimes whenever something went wrong or something happened in my life. And you know, it actually is more to the better of me experiencing that, because that's basically what other people would fucking do. And it's hilarious to see. It's not hilarious. It's really weird to know where my dad gets that stuff from. He got it from all of his coaches whenever he was in football. He got it from all of his friends whenever he was playing sports or playing dumb stuff and doing things. realizing that that's not the dynamic anymore, or hopefully that's not the dynamic anymore. The realization of fact is that it really doesn't matter what I say about stuff, or it doesn't matter how I say it, because people are going to do what they want to do. And it wouldn't matter if I told someone to go tell themselves to go put some, what's the word, deodorant on. Or if I told someone to stop messing with all that glue when they were messing with models and stuff like that. All that fabric and stuff like that. It wouldn't matter because they wouldn't listen to me. Or even wear gloves, latex free. It wouldn't really matter because, I mean, it just doesn't matter. Because I'm a throwawayable. I'm expendable, basically. I mean, at this point, really, if you think about it. The most I'd have to say about certain things like believing in myself, or saying that it's not the way that it seems, or saying that it's not the way that people make it out to be, and I shouldn't be doing that stuff, or saying those things because, you know, it's not the way that it happens, you know, it's not the way that's supposed to happen, you know. And I get spurts of inspiration anyway, so it's not like I mess around with a bunch of plastics all the time. But the more I think about it, the more I think about it, the more I notice that it really doesn't matter what I do. Doesn't matter, people are gonna be the way they want to be no matter what. People are going to say what they want to say all the time, and it's not going to matter what I say, because it never does. The most I take from it is, no matter what anyone says about you, always try to be yourself, you know? And I have not given a lot of shits about things in the past. Not a lot, at least. I'm just gonna get these items and probably die. I didn't die, yay. Most of the time I instinctively believe that, I'm gonna put this in my equipment. Okay, that, charcoal pine resin. Hexing urn. So, back to what I was talking about. Whenever I actually think about stuff, or whenever I actually try to tell someone that it's better for them if they do this. If they do something better for themselves instead of trying to put their stink on someone else, or... I mean, like metaphorically speaking. A lot of times I've noticed that, that when it comes down to it, people really just don't give a shit about each other sometimes. And it worries me, it really does. It worries me because there's so much to actually feel okay about. There's so much to actually feel alright about, and the fact that there's actually people out there that really wish I would have kept it. 17,000 I lost. Nice. Oh well. But what I'm trying to get to is, in order to fix those crazy fucking family feuds and those stupid fucking idiotic problems, you have to go down to the core of the issue. How they felt that day, the way they felt that day, what they were eating, the way that they were making money, how they were making money, whether they were happy. When it comes down to it, every person, if they have a bad day or if they have a fucked up life or a bad hand of cards one week, everything can crumble. And not just for me, because it's happened plenty of times. Everything crumbles. It all falls down. Every single part. Realize that. Realize that you can't do much. But you can make people feel comfortable that you know aren't going to be here for long. And if they're comfortable, then they're not thinking about something else. They're not trying to hurt someone or trying to get into some sort of debacle or some stupid freaking idiotic debate about something that could be, but most likely isn't. I mean, granted, if they want to make it, that will be amazing. But realize that everyone's going to scrutinize it. Everyone's going to say it's not that good, or it's not that great, or it's not that awesome. And I think the biggest thing that sells your product or sells anything is your mascot or your logo, or especially if you're selling a service. Like, that first sale is your logo. It's because somebody saw it, They saw what you did, and they saw the way you looked at you had your logo. That first sale is it's your face. It's not exactly your face, but it's the way you hold yourself. It's the way you decide to say to something to someone. And realize the fact that there are so many ways to actually be someone that stands out from a crowd. There are so many ways to actually be the one who sees trends and notices patterns and understands where people are going and how they're being there, or if maybe it's just all boring to me. It's boring because when the trend starts to control you, when it starts to make you happy, that's you being happy because it's something new. It's something you haven't experienced before. It's something that gets you up out of your bed, or up out of your funk, or your stupidity, or whatever you're doing that's dumb. It gets you out of your element, and it makes you think about something that isn't just you. And that's what I think gets people in their funk. It's not thinking about having sex with animals. It's not, yeah, that's Sigmund Freud. It's not thinking about making lives with someone. It's thinking about being the best version of yourself and understanding that when that moment comes through, are you waiting for a challenge, or are you waiting for a win? Because you can win all day if you have the right look. You can win at practice every single day if you have the right look. But if you don't have the right execution, the right attitude, and the right performance, then everything still falls apart. And not just because I say so. And not just because someone says it. That's the reason why people were dying in Mexico when that earthquake hit. Because instead of thinking about what they actually needed and how they actually needed it to be, they didn't realize that a fault line was slowly cracking and cracking and cracking and heading down to where Mexico and a certain number of people were. Granted, it heals. I mean, lava comes through, it completely dries up, and our planet is getting bigger. Does no one know that? Like, does no one get that? Has anyone ever actually measured the world? Measure it again. It's probably 75 or 76 or even 77 million miles around now. And we're going to get more land. It's like, Hawaii's already spewing out more. And there's underwater volcanoes from California to freaking right up on Hawaii's coast. It's fucking prime real estate, man. We fucking... And no, we didn't steal this land from anyone. You don't make a freaking spirit animal. It's annoying. I am Native American. It's dumb to do that. Because, okay, first of all, even if that was possible at all, it means you're trading water with an animal. And not only will that animal start to look like you, but eventually that animal will want to fuck you. Like, and it'll do it in your sleep. I'm not saying having a pet's bad. I'm just saying being away from it is a good thing. Because, like, if once it starts to, clean up after itself, it'll start wanting to clean up after you. And remember that. You're, like, it's like, realize it, you know? It's just, it doesn't mean you're going to look any different, but I know the animal's going to start looking different. And then acting strange and wanting to hump light posts and shit for no reason. But that all comes down to, like, it's like, and realize in the desert, people are angry all the time because it's hot. That's why they're angry. Because it's hot and they can't do anything about it. That's the reason why they're angry in the desert. That's the reason why the pyramids don't technically have people in them anymore. Even also the reason why the vases that hold the organs, they've all been dehydrated, like completely dehydrated because of baking in that box inside of where the pyramids, it baked. It all baked. It all baked. Just like baked it up. It was baking. It wasn't fermenting or anything like that or making a virus. They didn't die because of anything like that. They died because it was hot, and they all probably had heat exhaustion, and they didn't take care of it. They all died from some other reason. It's called heat. When you bake inside, it's like when it's baking you, it can actually cause parts of your brain to rupture and then hold liquid. And then later on in life, when your brain's going through the liquid parts, trying to get all that liquid stuff out, it starts to run a liquid that's a blood thing or a plasma that's in your brain through your bloodstream, and it's too thick. And then you get an aneurysm, or you lose a leg, or it's like, yeah, that's what happens when you go out in the sun for too long and shit. So it's scary as fuck. Don't go in any pyramids for more than a couple of hours, because you'll fucking die. And it won't be because of a curse, it'll be because of that thing that it does. The sun baking you from the inside. It's not a curse. It's called the sun baking. It's the reason why I want them to get rid of all that dirt. Like, just get rid of the dirt. Get rid of it so you can find the soil, and you can, like, the beds who are rich in vitamins, like the river beds, like the river would, like, flow everywhere in Africa, and, like, everything will be, like, if you sell the dirt, Okay, do it in like clumps and like make your own man-made rivers that cut off from the Nile, and then like freaking get that dirt out of there, like the dirt that's clogging up all that shit. The get all the excrement, the feces from all the animals out of the Nile. At least the top part, because Amazon's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be animal shit central. So yeah, whenever we actually try to make things easier for people, sometimes you can make it harder for them, and they can blame you for whatever kind of reason. But remember, it's not your fault. If you're a psychiatrist and you think that someone's gonna be mad at you and you're starting your career, just realize that no one's mad at you. They're mad at themselves. They're mad at themselves, and they think or wanted someone to take it out on. Because that's basically, not basically what I did, but in my own head, I was blaming people sometimes whenever I was angry for having this shit, for having this schizoaffective disorder, and I hated it. Basically that's the reason why. Yeah. I really do hate it, but I'm smart. I've always been smart, so there's that. And I'm pretty personable when it comes to it. I can talk shit all day, but I'm not one to push someone out when it matters most to them. I'm not one to tell someone that their time is done, or that and the only way that I could ever pull the plug is if I had every single person in the entire hospital's permission. So, just, I mean, or at least in the entire room, you know? I mean, granted, there'd be a doctor there. But just realize this. Realize that it's not just about being comfortable. It's about being innovative. And, I am Joe Bomb Squad, and these are my game therapy rants. They help me, and hopefully they help someone else. And thank you, Brendan Vella, for being a part of this this episode. All right. Have a good day and stuff.